first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that the dog is happy about us touching around the neck. So to do that, we produce the food and the hand at the same time. So you touch the neck at the same time as you move the food down to the dog, and you feed them multiple treats and then move away. So they get a really good reinforcement history that when people touch me, nice things happen. When you stop touching the collar, the food stops. And make sure that you practice that with both hands as well. The next stage would be to reach for the neck first and then start to feed. And stop. So the only change there is that rather than reaching together, I'm touching the neck first and then feeding. And I lift support because that's a cue that I use for her lifting her legs up in one of her tricks. To progress onto the, oh nice food manners, well done. To progress onto using the collar, the collar isn't something that we want them to target because that makes it difficult to put it on. So we can use a treat up in front of our face, and so we hold the collar out and hopefully the dog will look at our face. Gradually you can move the collar a little bit closer. And then we're going to do the same thing again, where we're going to touch with the collar, but we're going to present the food and the collar at the same time. So feed, feed, feed while the collar's touching, and then they both stop. Next progression for there would be to, again, hold the treat up between your thumb and your finger, up between your eyes, touch first, then feed. Okay, and then we want to do that where we can reach towards the dog, and then produce the food. So we're not holding it in front of our face anymore. The next step would be to hold it with both hands. And then start to gradually move the collar so it's a bit more like fitting. So we eventually wrap it around the dog's neck, hold it together, feed, one while it's on, and then remove. And just make sure that you definitely don't have any treats in your hands when you're reaching around the dog's collar, because otherwise what they'll do is they'll probably start to, and she's been a good girl, but they'll probably start to try and grab the food out of your hands so you won't be able to get it on. Okay, so wrap it round and build up duration. So we can feed 3 treats before we remove it. Then we can feed 5 treats before we remove it, 6 treats before we remove it, 2 treats before we move it, so just vary it around. And then you can move towards kind of fiddling with it a bit as you would if you were trying to get it clipped on. Again, multiple treats, but the treats stop as you take the collar off. And then we're finally ready to properly clip the collar on. So Isla's ears get in the way, so like as I'm doing it I think, oh, I've been doing that a bit too long now, I can stop at little stages, so I've just threaded it through. You guys have got the snap collars, so that's easier, but at each stage, so I've threaded it through, treat, then I've clipped the pin in it, treat, then I push it through the rest of the buckle, treat, and then I may then push it through into the bit that holds the excess collar. Good girl, well done. Good, okay. now we're going to look at fitting the lead. So double your lead up, and then we're going to repeat what we did with the collar, where we hold the treat between thumb and finger up by your face and hold the lead out to the side. Yep. And then hopefully your dog will be looking, yep, at food rather than the lead. Yep. Yep. So you're just trying to basically teach him to ignore the lead. It's nothing to be interested in. Yep. And then we're going to repeat what we did with the collar, where we feed at the same time as touching the collar. So again, multiple treats while you're touching the collar, and then move your hand away. Multiple treats, move your hand away, and then next you're going to reach for the collar first and then feed. So treating your thumb and finger again up by your face, reach for the collar, yep, treat and let go. Yep. And again, you can feed different number of treats when you take hold of the collar, but when you let go of the collar, all the food stops. Yep. Okay, next we're going to do that with no treats in our hand. Yep. You can still hold your hand up near your face if you need to. Yep. And again, sometimes one treat, sometimes multiple treats. But the change here is purely that you have no food in your hands and you reach into the collar first. Yep. And that's basically because you're going to need both hands in a minute. So now reach to the collar with two hands. Yep. So again, two hands. Yep. And then build a bit of duration. Yep. So just delay, give your marker word before you then feed the treat. Then we're going to fiddle with the collar, a little bit like what you're going to do when you try and find the D-ring. Yep. Again, you can feed multiple. Let go. So fiddle first. Mark. Yep. Keep hold of the collar with one hand and feed. And let go. And then now we're going to get hold of the D-ring and we're going to fiddle with the lead a bit. Yep. Again, 1, 2, 4 treats, doesn't matter, but when you stop holding the collar, the food stops. And then now we're going to mark, yep, for finding the D-ring. Then we're going to mark for clipping the collar on the D-ring. Yep. And then you've got your dog on the lead. Okay. So now we're going to look at removing the lead. So again, reach the dog's collar. Yep. Give them a treat. Find the clip. And if you fiddle with the clip and you don't quite get it off, but you think the dog might be getting a bit fidgety, that's fine, just stop and feed again. And then unclip your lead. Good girl, well done. That's it. Okay. So we're going to take the collar off. So we're basically going to do the process we did before, but backwards. So take hold of the collar with one hand. Once your dog's good at this, you don't obviously have to go through all the steps. Take hold of the collar with both hands. Yep. Fiddle with the collar. Yep. And then we're going to fiddle with the collar, find the buckle. Yep. Reward. And then we're going to unclip or unbuckle depending on what collar you've got. And if you do faff about a bit when you're doing it, or you perhaps can't get hold of it properly, that's fine. Yep. Just mark and reward them again for their patients. Yep. Once you've taken it off, make sure, okay, and you release them. There you go.